What is going on, guys? My name is Taylor Stuber, and I'm here to break down this 6-game preseason NBA slate on Draftkings.com. If you guys are new here or haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe down below. Likes and comments are also greatly appreciated. Helps out the algorithm, helps me get more eyeballs on my videos and put out my work. But make sure to stay till the end of the video because we have a ton of notes to go over, a ton of nuggets that I found already, and I'm sure more is going to break tomorrow throughout the day. Of course, this is a great primer for the slate, but 30 minutes before lock, I will be live streaming, going over all of the latest breaking news, as well as answering as many questions as I possibly can. We got up to 300 concurrent viewers yesterday. I feel like we can surpass that number moving forward, especially on this slate with so much news and so many things to go over. If you guys want to join my free Discord, that is linked down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. And then if you want my game notes, cheat sheets, complete FanDuel lineups, DraftKings cores, that is in my Patreon, $25 for the rest of the month. That includes the regular season as well. I think it is more than worth it, especially for the game notes. But let's just jump right into this slate. Here's a quick preview of the notes that I make every single day for every game, every team. Gives depth charts, injuries, notes that I get from the coaches, as well as my opinions on who I'm going to be playing, and that is updated all the way up till lock. I think the game notes alone are worth the subscription, but we will start with the Dallas Mavericks versus the Charlotte Hornets. Possibly the best game to target on the entire slate, maybe the best team to target on the slate with the Dallas Mavericks. They are going to be without Reggie Bullock, Tyrell Terry. Jason Kidd has already stated that this will be used as a rehearsal game, playing an 11-man rotation, and starters/role players will play into the fourth quarter. So we are going to see massive minutes from these guys. So don't overthink it. All of these starters are very much in play. Luka, Kristaps, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dwight Powell, Tim Hardaway Jr. are all priced accordingly. But for the minutes that they are going to play, 30-plus minutes in this game, maybe not Dwight Powell, but the rest of those guys should play 30-plus minutes in this game. Specifically, Luka Doncic, you just go ahead and play him. Don't overthink it. There's some other great studs on this slate, but you want to be playing Luka Doncic. These other guys are very good plays as well. Going to want to get a couple of these guys into your lineups. On the other side of the court, we get the Charlotte Hornets. They're going to be without Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward again. Kelly Oubre looks like he is questionable, could play in this game. And then Mason Plumlee, after being out ever since the first preseason game, is going to be returning to the lineup. The Hornets played 4 preseason games last year, same as this year. They played high 20 minutes, low 30 minutes for the starters, expecting the same and for them to treat this as a dress rehearsal game against the Dallas Mavericks, who are also treating this like a dress rehearsal game. So you could see big minutes from guys like LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges. I'm going to be locking in a LaMelo Ball into a lot of my lineups. And there's a lot of value on this slate as we get deeper into this slate. So fitting in 2 or 3 of these studs like Luka and LaMelo is definitely viable. Mason Plumlee is returning after not playing since the preseason opener. Appears that he may have lost his spot to PJ Washington actually, but Coach Brago has already mentioned that he will get playing time in this game. Played 15 minutes in that first game, shot 0 times, scored 0 points, but had 7 rebounds and 4 assists. We know Mason Plumlee, back to his Nuggets days, his Detroit Pistons days, he's an actual triple-double threat when given the opportunity, just because he is so good tossing the ball around. I think he is in play, but before I get further into this slate, you must love all of the plays in your lineup. There are going to be so many very, very strong plays on this slate, and if a guy doesn't check all of the boxes, I would probably just not even consider them. So from this Charlotte Hornets team, I'm pretty much just considering LaMelo Ball. I don't mind Miles Bridges, but he is a bit priced up. Kelly Oubre, if he does play, without Terry Rozier, without Gordon Hayward, and we get news that he is a full go, I'm going to get some exposure to Kelly Oubre. And the aforementioned value on this slate, a lot of it's going to be coming from this Memphis Grizzlies team. Yeah, I mean, there is a plethora of guys ruled out. Steven Adams, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Tyus Jones, D'Anthony Melton, Chris Dunn, Sean McDermott, Kyle Anderson, Dylan Brooks are all out. Zaire Williams and Killian Tilly are questionable. So if the questionable players play, they'll have 10 players. If they miss, they'll have 8 players, which is the bare minimum that you must have to play in a game. So I don't know if these guys are going to end up playing. We could see an 8-man rotation, and they are all $5,200 or less. And so these are the guys that you are going to want to be playing to fit in the LaMelo Balls, the Luka Doncic, the Nikola Jokic's that we are going to talk about later. Brandon Clark. So we just saw a similar situation from this Grizzlies team a couple games ago where they had a 10-man rotation, and they were led by Brandon Clark, Santi Aldama, Zaire Williams, Jarrett Culver, Xavier Tillman. Those were the guys that you were wanting to target last game. And now we get Desmond Bane and D'Anthony Melton out, who were actually 2 of the best offensive players on that 10-man rotation. And now they're going to be without those guys. So Brandon Clark, Xavier Tillman are some of my favorite plays on the slate. And you can get bare minimum price guys like Jarrett Culver, who's probably going to end up playing mid-20s minutes, especially if Zaire Williams is out in this game. Bare minimum, don't mind him. Santi Aldama played mid-20s minutes. He's only $4,200. And then Tilly, Zaire Williams. I mean, Zaire Williams shot 14 times in that game. And if he is going to be active in this game, I'm expecting him to start possibly at point guard because they are so short on bodies. And he is very active with the ball, only $4,300. This is where you are wanting to get your value. Of course, we're going to have to wait on those questionable guys, see if they are in, if they are out. Brandon Clark, probably my favorite play from that Grizzlies team. On the opposite end with the Indiana Pacers, Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert, Justin Holiday, TJ Warren are all out in this game. The Pacers are in their 3rd and final preseason game in the same exact situation when Rick Carlisle was the coach for the Mavericks last year. Remember, Rick Carlisle is now the coach for the Pacers. He treated that game as a dress rehearsal and played the starters high 20s minutes. So if we see a similar situation in this game, you know, I tend to believe that we are going to see that situation come to fruition, but they are playing against a very, very depleted Memphis Grizzlies team. So not sure if they run out their guys that much. I do have some confidence in it, but I think we will end up hearing something beforehand because Rick Carlisle has been, you know, pretty good at putting some statements out on how much they are going to end up playing. So Domantas Sabonis, one of the better plays on the slate, but it's really TJ McConnell, the guy I want to focus on at $5,000. Should grab the start without Malcolm Brogdon. Go back to last year without Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert, TJ Warren on the court, a large sample size of 871 minutes for TJ McConnell there. Had an 18.5% usage rating at 39.6 assist percentage, averaging 1.19 fantasy points per minute. And if we expect these guys to play high 20s minutes, I absolutely love them. And there's also no Justin Holiday to eat into his minutes, and there's no Aaron Holiday on the team anymore, so he is no longer with the Pacers. So all the minutes should be going to TJ McConnell in this game. He is only $5,000, and then Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner are also very, very good plays from this Pacers team. Move over to the Boston Celtics. Another team that are missing a bunch of guys either for injury or for rest. Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, Josh Richardson, Dennis Schroeder, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum are all out in this game. And if you played Summer League at all, I don't even have to say anything. You already know how much of a lock Peyton Pritchard is on this slate. They're expecting a bigger role from him this year, and he completely ran this team in the Summer League, and they have a similar roster currently. So I'm going to be all over Peyton Pritchard. Robert Williams, he had averaged 1.27 fantasy points per minute last year, and he should see an increase in playing time and usage rating in this game. I know he's been pretty disappointing in the preseason so far, but a lot of that had to do with him splitting time with Al Horford or playing next to Al Horford, but Horford is now out, so Robert Williams should grab the start here, play some pretty big minutes. If you guys want to get deeper into this Boston Celtics team, I think Nesmith and Enes Kanter in limited minutes could get it done, but I'm really focusing on Pritchard and Robert Williams. This Orlando Magic team, they are going to be without Michael Carter-Williams, Markelle Fultz, Chuma Okeke, Jonathan Isaac, and like I mentioned earlier, if they don't check all the boxes, I'm just not interested in them at all. And so this Orlando Magic team, they keep messing around with the lineups, which is fine, but the minutes are so spread out, so evenly spread out, that I can't really consider anybody on this team. I know they got cheaper, like Jalen Suggs in them, and Suggs was very highly owned last game, and I did not understand why, and he was more expensive than, he was like 5,500. I know he's 5,100 now, but I'm still not really considering him. If I were to consider anybody on this team, I suppose it would be probably Wendell Carter Jr. at 5,500. If he could play 22 minutes, he would definitely be viable, but everybody's really fighting for their depth chart spot, and the minutes are just way too even for me to consider anybody on that Orlando Magic team. Move over to the Detroit Pistons versus New York Knicks. The Pistons are going to be without Cade Cunningham, Killian Hayes, Isaiah Livers, Derek Walton Jr., Cassius Stanley, Chris Smith, Rodney McGruder, Sadiq Bey, Hamidou Diallo are all questionable. Saben Lee grabbed the start last game for Killian Hayes. Killian Hayes ended up coming back the next game, but he is now out again with a concussion. But Saben Lee grabbed the start there, and we played him, and he did decent. He ended up salvaging, getting to about 20 fantasy points because he played into the fourth quarter. But it was Corey Joseph who ended up performing in that game. Saben Lee played 23 minutes, shot 2 for 6 for 5 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 4 stocks. Corey Joseph played 25 minutes, shot 7 for 10, 14 minutes, 2 rebounds, 6 assists. So out of those two, I'm probably targeting Corey Joseph. Only 4,500, has shooting guard eligibility, so a lot more flexible, easier to get him in because there is so many good point guards we want to play. So I'm probably siding with Corey Joseph over Saben Lee, even if Lee gets the starting spot. And then if Sadiq Bey misses, I could see Josh Jackson grab the start here, and he would be a very viable play at $5,000. I would expect him to play mid-20s minutes, and he could very well lead this team with usage, even with Jeremy Grant also in the starting lineup. Only $5,000. Josh Jackson, I think, is very, very viable on the slate if Sadiq Bey does indeed miss this game. Move over to the New York Knicks. Mitchell Robinson is out. Nerlens Noel is questionable. Noel mentioned that it is a minor injury, but he's going to find out today whether he's going to be able to give it a go. I think a lot of people are going to flood to Jericho Sims and Taj Gibson because they have been so good in the absence of Nerlens Noel. They split all 48 center minutes last game, but with Julius Randle returning from rest, I'm expecting Randle to steal some of those center minutes, and so I think they're going to be a bit over-owned than what they should be, even at those cheap price tags. But in typical fashion, Tom Thibodeau is playing his younger guys, Sands, Kemba Walker, and Taj Gibson. He's been playing their guys mid to high 20s minutes. Even RJ Barrett played 31 minutes last time out. So I don't mind the guys like Randall, RJ Barrett. They're probably secondary plays for me, but they're definitely viable on this slate given how many minutes they're going to end up playing. And then Derrick Rose at $5,300, probably only going to play around 20 minutes, but he is so good on a permanent basis that he could pay off that price tag. He would be a GPP pivot off of guys like Peyton Pritchard, and those other cheap point guards at that $5,000 range. We got 2 games left. The Denver Nuggets versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, this is one of the most interesting teams on the slate. The Denver Nuggets, they are going to be without Jamal Murray. Obviously, probably going to be out until the All-Star break. But this is a quote from Harrison Wind on Twitter. Expect Nuggets starters minutes to go into the high 20s or low 30s Wednesday in OKC. Denver's opening night starting 5, Monte Morris, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic should make its debut. It's a close to a dress rehearsal, as we'll see from the Nuggets this preseason. So Nikola Jokic is an absolute lock for me. You go back to last year without Jamal Murray on the court in 1,470 minutes. A 34.1% usage rating, 18 total rebound percentage, 39 assist percentage, while averaging 1.6 fantasy points per minute. Now, I think you should be locking in Luka and Nikola Jokic in pretty much all of your lineups. If you want to get different elsewhere. These are not the spots to mess around at. Both these guys are going to play 30 plus minutes in these games with super high rates, 1.6 plus fantasy point per minute guys. And they're also in good matchups as well. So locking in all of these guys, and then like the Dallas Mavericks, the rest of these starters are definitely viable. Michael Porter Jr., Will Barton. Will Barton probably a bit too expensive, but if he's going to play 30-plus minutes, he's definitely in play. Monty Morris down here at 4,600 is also in play, just given how cheap his price tag is. I don't think he quite reaches 30 minutes, but he probably plays, 26, 28 minutes. He's really fighting for his starting spot because Bones Highland is on fire, and the coaching staff definitely trusts him. Nikola Jokic definitely trusts him. So Monty Morris is going to, he shoots a bit more in this game, trying to fight off Bones Highland. Move over to Oklahoma City Thunder, a team that I'm just really not that interested in at all. Vic Krejci is out again. Mamadi Diakate and Kenrich Williams are questionable. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Luguentz Dort continue to only play in the first half, have yet to see the third quarter. And then number 6 overall rookie Josh Giddey continues to lead the team in minutes, mid to high 20 minutes every single game. So he's the only player I'm considering on this slate. But they did bring his price up to $5,800. Now he's going to end up being on my cheat sheet and in some of my lineups, but not a guy that I'm jamming in like I was in the previous slates, given the price raise, but it's definitely in play. Move over to the last game of the slate, the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Utah Jazz. The Bucks are going to be without Bobby Portis, Semi Ojeleye, and Dante DiVincenzo again. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Drew Holiday, and Chris Middleton finally played last game, but only played in the first half. This is their first preseason game. This is their final preseason game, rather, and we can see them use this as a dress rehearsal, similar to what we've seen in past years with Mike Budenholzer. Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday each played 26 minutes in their final preseason game last year, while Giannis Antetokounmpo was out with a back injuries. So I'm focusing on Giannis Antetokounmpo, Middleton, Drew Holiday. I guess Brook Lopez is viable at 4,700. I would expect him to play mid-20s minutes if they treat this as a dress rehearsal game. But yeah, I mean, if there's a possibility that you could fit Giannis, Jokic, and Luka Doncic into your lineups, those are the 3 guys that I would be focusing on doing it. LaMelo Ball is also in conversation with the top studs on the entire slate. But yeah, I love these guys, especially Drew Holiday. $6,500 for him. If this is in fact a game where he's going to play mid to high 20s minutes, $6,500 is way too cheap for Drew Holiday. Move to the Utah Jazz. Yeah, they're going to be without Rudy Gay, Trent Forrest, Jared Butler, Elijah Hughes are questionable. But the Jazz played their starters low to mid-20s minutes last game. And I could see them either doing that again, or I could see them flat out resting guys. And then, the backups like Udoka would become very much in play. But as of right now, I'm not interested in any of these guys. They are priced up to the point where they're next to Luka, Jokic, Giannis, and we know for a fact those guys are going to play, maybe outside of Giannis, that are going to play like 30-plus minutes in these games on teams that are relatively depleted. And this Utah Jazz team is pretty healthy, and we are unsure on their minutes, so I'm kind of avoiding the Utah Jazz. But appreciate you guys watching this video. I will be live streaming 30 minutes before lock. Remember, this slate locks 30 minutes earlier than normal. It starts at 5:30 p.m. Central Time, so I will be live at 5 p.m. Central Time to break down the latest breaking news, as well as answering all of your guys' questions. If you guys want to join my Discord, it is completely free, linked down below. Make sure to check it out over there. And if you guys want to know exactly what I'm doing on this slate and get updates throughout the day, make sure to join my Patreon. That is $25 for the rest of the month. That includes the regular season as well. Appreciate you guys being here. Best of luck, and until next time, peace.